Alright kids, let's talk spoilers. As games and, well, all visual mediums are getting more popular and being spread amongst the popular consciousness, it's getting harder to keep a lid on the surprises the more popular stories can offer. Let's face it, by now everyone knows that Darth Vader is Luke's father, Rosebud is Kane's childhood sled, and Brad Pitt and Edward Norton are the same person. But the statute of limitations on spoilers is clearly shrinking. Atlas and Fontaine being the same person and James Sunderland having killed his wife are starting to become accepted truths also, but at least these games are years old. But tell me, did you go into Gone Home not expecting it to really be a love story? Did you crack open Spec Ops: The Line not knowing John Conrad was really dead? It's possible, but I doubt it. And more to the point, I sadly did not, because word of mouth is starting to play fast and loose with spoilers. Which brings me to what I call the spoilerific trilogy. It's 3 games released this year that I've already been spoiled on a tiny bit, and that I know I have very little time to experience before they're spoiled completely, and that will be my next set of videos. This third one may be subject to change, by the way. Will these videos themselves be filled with spoilers? Maybe we'll play it by ear. Anyway, Undertale. Seen a lot of people online swear by this game, and considering the arguable home turf of the fanbase, I knew I'd have to hit it sooner or later, and in keeping with the theme of trilogies, I ended up playing this game through 3 times. Here's how it played out. A long ass fucking time ago, humans and monsters lived in peace, then they didn't, and you're a human child who fell into the world of monsters, and go! Regular viewers might remember I played this game for a bit many months ago, so I knew this deal with Flowey was a falsehood. Spoilers, I guess. From here on, this woman tried to convince me to be nice to everyone I'd come across, but I'd seen the marketing. Undertale is the first RPG ever you can beat without attacking a single person. But I was determined to play the game all wrong just to see what would happen. And also to be a stick in the mud. But I must say, combat is still quite good even on the most straightforward run-through. Attacking is carried out the exact same way as, of all games, Resident Evil Gaiden, and defending is handled by this neat little freeform section where you have to dodge a variety of obstacles. There are a lot of different sort of attacks that can be thrown at you, especially with multiple monsters on the field, so this one simple mechanic somehow carries the entire battle system, especially when they include blue and yellow attacks where you have to stay still or move through them respectively. That sort of broad application of a few ideas into every system I've played that gives the entire game a sense of mechanical and conceptual consistency. It makes me very, very giddy. So yeah, combat is simple, but good. So I'm trundling along, killing everything I see, and the first level ends with what I thought was a tough boss battle, but now I realise Toriel relents when you're running low on health. But she dies, and then I go out to meet those 2 skeletons whose faces I've had to endure for a month, and then the level becomes a puzzle area. Well, sort of. After that you go to a cave system, a lava world, and finally the castle where the passage to the human world lies. Now that might sound as if I was dismissing each level as an unrelated slice, and that was the intention. But I think that may have been the intention of developer Toby Fox too. See, I have this theory, and I'm too lazy to look this up, but Undertale's pacing and even some of its writing struck me as very absurdist. Going through rather segmented areas with their own sequestered characters and set pieces which don't often serve a greater point reminded me a lot of the way Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead was written. Each set piece seems to be there to fill time, and the way the game quickly and jarringly moves from area to area is a meta acknowledgement of how they might be cool asides, but have no greater purpose and are there for their own sake. This artifact puzzle where you get nothing at the end of it because you have to get rid of a dog that just appears in your inventory, very Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. And this definitely shows in the character writing. Each character is well defined with very likeable personalities, but only one character really shows any sense of dimension. Everyone else can be figured out in their first few lines, and every conversation from then on is just self-indulgent. That's not to say the writing's bad at all. I actually smiled at many of the jokes, even the ones designed intentionally to be bad. Undertale has charm for days, but not necessarily a lot of bite. And I'm coming off a game series that literally includes a fanfiction writer as a character. And just going through the game, I only felt it was running on autopilot. The fact each moment of the game seems so isolated from every other one really shows by the home stretch. Not only because the game gets kind of tiresome, but also because there's no sense of momentum. There isn't really anything to evidence you're progressing through the game other than seeing new things. It doesn't really get any more exciting. It never feels like, oh boy, I finally get to go home soon to the human world. Undertale is just It just is for most of it. So I get to the end, I fight a Giraffes album cover, I get told to go to hell because I killed Sans brother and get thrust to the credits unceremoniously. Overall, I guess I've wasted 3 hours on more worthless pursuits, but I could have also run through Parasite Eve 2 twice in that time. I'm definitely puzzled as to how it's attracted such a cult of personality when it's kind of lightweight, in a way the game passively admits too. Suffice to say I won't... okay, time to play it properly. The second I started this run, one of my friends told me that a pacifist run of Undertale turns it into a completely different game. In the event you're watching this, bullshit. Okay, so instead of attacking monsters, you have to do different miscellaneous actions depending on the monster to get them to calm down or be your friend, and then you can spare them. Figuring out each monster's pattern to being spared requires a sort of abstract logic, because not every monster will respond to the same emotional stimulus. Sometimes simply being nice won't work. You might have to actively embarrass someone to get them to go away, or simply outwit them. And sometimes you cannot do anything but just guess as to what to do, running through every option until you find the combo that works. I kinda like it. Turning combat into a multiple choice puzzle game does manage to successfully turn a rather conventional battle system on its head, and although it can be a bit tedious just cycling through options until one works, it makes for a bit of a different outlook. Here's the problem. That's just the attacking phase. When it comes to the defense phase, nothing changes. To you, this might not be a problem. Oh yes it is, do you realise what this entails? What this means is while your character is trying to make friends, calm monsters down, or else just be absolutely non-aggressive, they're still getting attacked by these monsters they themselves are not attacking. You know, for a game getting praised for sticking it to the modern games industry and its predilection on violence to the detriment of everything else, I didn't expect Undertale to bear one of the biggest instances of ludonarrative dissonance. At the very least, it's a brutal distraction from the setting of the world. Less than half of its inhabitants should be trying to kill you. But not only can you die, you'll probably see more game overs because you can't increase your maximum health without killing something. I realise, you know, this is just a game. I don't have to take it so seriously. But I do find this a big blemish against the game's conceit, because it means Undertale isn't a game about diplomatically surviving through an unknown environment filled with wacky characters. It's about throwing away basic self-preservation instincts and catering to everyone's whims just in the name of not throwing a single punch. In other words, you have to become everyone's bitch. I just don't buy it. Even in this game's absurdist mindset, I can't comprehend this being an actual scenario, because there is meant to be a pacifist backbone to the whole game. Toriel is basically the first character you meet, and all interactions and conversations with her are bred on being excellent to each other. Undyne refuses absolution. If you take a single life, that's what stops you from getting the true ending, and that's what reinforces her consistent outlook on justice. So there is definitely a slant to pacifist play. You have to be nice to everyone, but none of them have to be nice to you. Tremaine Greer has less double standards than this. Alright, so what else changes? Obviously there are a few side quests only available to a pacifist run, and even an entire area locked off until you finish them. You have to help this eye patch wearing fish woman go on a date with a dinosaur scientist, and at the end of it you have to determine whether or not to tell one of them anime is fake. Yeah, see, this is what I mean when I say the game is cute but insubstantial. It's funny to watch, but what bearing could it possibly have on anything? And on subsequent playthroughs, there's a bit more fourth wall breakage. Without spoiling too much, your character isn't the only one that can read your save files and past choices. It leads to a few funny moments, but again, nothing felt particularly special. Certainly no moment has that instance of meta-commentary that changes the context of the game. Like, I've seen Undertale compared to Spec Ops: The Line, and I'm just like, no, this is nothing like Spec Ops: The Line. There is no you're here because you wanted to be something you're not. Hell, there's not even an I Need Scissors 61. Like, I don't know what to tell you, this isn't the first game to deliberately crash itself after the final boss kills you. A lot of it just seems kinda obvious, and nothing in this game really hit me on my gut. I kinda saw most everything coming, especially on that second playthrough. It was practically a speed run. To be fair, none of this makes Undertale a bad game at all, and it certainly isn't. Combat is still pretty good through 2 playthroughs on a mechanical level. I do like the art style, and the music... oh wow, this is easily the best soundtrack of 2015. Like, this is not even a conversation. If you're placing a vote for best game soundtrack of this year, you do it for Undertale, no buts or ifs. But, I don't know, none of it really coalesced into a meaty exploration of a deconstructive JRPG framework, and while some of this was simply because it was written in a way I don't personally respond to, a lot of it just didn't go for the gut enough. Maybe it'll be better if I... What the fuck, why is this boss so hard all of a sudden? Props for shaking the game up, I guess. And before you comment, yes, I'm aware this isn't even the boss that stumps people on a genocide run. Which makes me wonder if they were meant to be the disincentive to kill everyone, as opposed to the general warm and fuzzies you get from not killing everyone. But at this point, I don't really care. Amazing soundtrack, everything else. Now try not to take this too personally, though I've made reference to the fact that I don't understand why the game is as big as it is. That doesn't mean it doesn't deserve to be, and I'm happy if people found something to latch onto that resonates with them, and I'm especially happy for Toby Fox. Maybe this will convince me to give Homestuck who am I kidding? First chapter went way over my head 3 years ago, plus it's never going to be finished. I'd much rather spend my time with something that was just updated with its last episode, its ending. And so I shall. Firing up a new game, I decided to model my character after Gundam Tanaka. And by that I mean I picked the closest preset face and gave him a scar. As the game goes on, you unlock more types of truth bullet. Come on, we're not debating murder cases this time around. The only reason they were called truth bullets before was because they were metaphorical, but you're literally shooting a gun this time around. Just call it ammo, damn it. Anyway, can't show all the finer details? Just whack some prose on there, that'll do the trick, right? And it's not a matter of, oh, I don't like reading. On the contrary, I'm a very fast reader. I'm getting off topic again. Shut up, Connor. As a fellow veteran and connoisseur of Guitar Hero of yore, how does it actually play? Fine?